And now, Working Man Radio with your host, Joe Lyles.
The Republican Party has a problem. They got a big problem. It's called demographics. This last time out, for the first time in history, black turnout was higher than white turnout in 2012. And all the dirty tricks they were trying, the Republicans were actively trying to suppress black turnout, and they didn't do it. Black folks showed up and voted. It's one of the reasons that President Obama won re-election. And if you're a white supremacist, right, there are bigots and there are white supremacists. Right? Bigots, that's more benign. That's just more general attitudes. The stuff you absorb by osmosis growing up, and you're not even aware of it. That's what Paula Deen is. She is a structural bigot because she grew up and she absorbed all the attitudes of people around her, and she's not even aware of it. And she doesn't, it takes, actually, that actually takes a little bit of soul searching to figure out. You have to sit down and think about it, and it takes a little bit of effort to purge the bigotry from you, which is why you won't do it. Because the vast majority of people, and I mean of any race, the vast majority of people are not going to put forth the effort to de-bigify themselves. They're going to retain that structural bigotry, and that's just all there is to it. And if you think that progress depends on stamping it out, then we're not going to make progress. If you think that we must stamp out all traces of bigotry before we may move forward, then we may not move forward. We're done. Forget it. Go move to an island in the South Pacific and sit up next to a palm tree and sip on margaritas and pina coladas for the rest of your life, and don't worry about the United States. It's going to hell. Your solution needs to be, you have to have a solution that does not involve stamping out all bigotry, because you're not going to do it. It's impossible. Now, let me tell you something else, since we're talking about things that are impossible. You're not going to get Americans to vote for a diminution of their standard of living. Americans are not going to vote to impoverish themselves. They're not going to vote to drive less and travel less. They're not going to vote to not stop using their air conditioners and refrigerators. So your global warming solution had better be something that you can get the votes to get, or you ain't going to get it. If you just simply want to shut down industry, you want to shut down carbon, energy consuming industry, so that we may save the planet. Well, the planet ain't getting saved. So you better come up with a solution that allows for us to continue to enjoy our industrial standard of living, which is going to be a solution involving better, cleaner, greener forms of energy. And that's your solution. And if you ain't working towards that, you're wasting your time. Let's get real, people. That's what I'm about. Let's get real. Let's stop blaming the world's problems. Paula Deen is not the source of the world's problems. I'm sorry. And if she is, then we're in deep trouble. Because we cannot, and this is another thing that narcissistic liberals want to do. They want to try to fix everybody, and you can't fix everybody. And in fact, you make things worse when you try to fix everybody. You just make people not like you and not want to do that. They don't want to listen to you, and they don't want to have anything to do with you, which we are seeing. The point is that by attempting By attempting to fix people, you're actually driving people away. You're actually going to fix the composition of the electorate. You're going to take all the, and I'm not talking about the white supremacists. I'm talking about the soft bigots. And you're going to fix the soft, you're going to harden their position. You're going to make them into permanent Republicans. And the United States Supreme Court has just made that a very dicey proposition for you. That's what's behind the United States Supreme Court's decision. The United States Supreme Court couldn't invalidate the 15th Amendment. They couldn't say that Congress can't legislate here. What they did was they gave the Republicans a tiny little window that might just be big enough. The Republicans might be able to take this break from the Voting Rights Act of 1965 to try and create a permanent Republican majority in the House of Representatives. Did you know that 4 million more Americans voted for Democrats for Congress last time out? But we have a Republican majority because of gerrymandered districts. And what the Republican Party desperately needs to do to solve the demographic problem, because the Republican Party they're through with the black vote. The black folks are through with them. And Hispanics are mostly through with them. And plus they've got this xenophobic, once again, white bigot base who are afraid of Mexicans taking their jobs in the tomato fields or something. It's actually, it's all about being able to exploit Mexicans. We keep them as outlaws and we can pay them what we want. And that's what that's all about. But the demographics are not going to allow that to continue. And the Republicans are going to have to start they're going to have to start peeling away some Hispanic votes. Or they can take this window in the Voting Rights Act of 1965, they can take this break from this respite from its requirements, and they can set up some literacy tests, and they can set up some barriers to voting, and they can massively wholesale exclude Hispanics and blacks from the ballot box so that they may retain their power. And when they try to do that, they are going to have to get more and more and more corrosively bigoted. And if you're out here hanging some television cooking chef up by her thumbs for something she said 30 years ago, all you're doing is helping them. You need some white folks voting. You need to do what the Republicans need to do with Hispanics. You need to do that with white bigots. I'm talking bigots. The soft bigots. You need to get some of those soft bigots. You don't need to convince them they're bigots. You just need to convince them, listen, the Democrats' economic policies are better for you. Don't worry about the colored folks, and don't worry about the Hispanics. Vote for what's good for you. Right? Vote for what's good for you. We have 11 million Hispanics here. We have Hispanics here who are here legally and are allowed to vote. And do you want to try to go back to the days of colored drinking fountains? You really want to bring all that back? No? Then why don't you wise up? We don't need to get them all. The Republicans don't need to get all the Hispanics, and we don't need to get all the bigots. We just need to get enough to turn some state legislatures back blue, enough to turn the House of Representatives back blue. If we can turn the House of Representatives back blue in 2014, lickety split, we'll have a new Section 4 standard that will pass muster, and that problem will be solved. But you're not going to solve the problem by attacking a television show chef for using a racial slur 30 years ago. That's not going to get it. All that's going to do is put her and the people who watch her show, who are votes you could be trying to win. but you'll lose those votes if you're not careful. And right now, thanks to the U.S. Supreme Court, you can't afford to lose those votes. You need to get some soft bigots back to the Democratic Party. I'm Joe Lyles. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment.
You've been listening to Working Man Radio with Joe Lyles at joelylesradio.com.